Hare Krishna. Very happy to be with all of you today. We'll start with a Vaishnava song. We generally sing this in the mornings. It's called Nama Sankirtan. Hari Haray Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. I'm sure you all know this song and you have sung it many times before. Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana. Yaha hoite Vigna Nash Abhishta Purana. Echai Gosai Jar Muitar Das. Tashabara Pada Renu Mora Panchagras. Tadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas. Janame hoy ei abhilash. Echai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilovas. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korilo Prakash. Anand Bolo Hari Bhaj Vrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Koriyash.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pada Padma Kariyash.
Nama Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Das.
Nama Sankirtana Kahe Narottama Das.
Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Namaha Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
O Lord Hari, O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisances to you, who are known as Yadava, Hari, Madhava and Keshava. O Gopal, Govind, Ram, Shri Madhusudan, Giridhari, Gopinath, Madan Mohan. All glories to Shri Chaitanya and Nityananda. All glories to Shri Advaita Acharya and his consort, Shri Sita Thakurani. All glories to Lord Hari, the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Śrīmad-Bhagavad Gita. By the way, in the third verse, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. Often we make the mistake of thinking this is Bhagavad Gita. There are two separate words, Bhagavat referring to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Gita referring to Bhagavad Gita. So it is not Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. It is Bhagavat Gita. So it is a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, both that are mentioned here. So please keep that in mind. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavat Gita. So Srila Narottam Das Thakur is glorifying all these personalities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Sita Thakurani, Hari, that is Lord Krishna, Guru, Vaishnava, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. He will continue with the translation. All glories to Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. I offer my obeisances to the feet of these 6 Goswamis. By offering them my obeisances, all obstacles to devotion are destroyed and all spiritual desires are fulfilled. I am the servant of that person who is a servant of these 6 Goswamis. The dust of their lotus of their holy feet is my 5 kinds of foodstuffs. This is my desire, that birth after birth I may live with those devotees who serve the lotus feet of these 6 Goswamis. When these 6 Goswamis lived in Vraja, they revealed and explained the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Absorbing your mind in meditation upon the divine feet of the spiritual master and the holy Vaishnavas, chant the names of Lord Hari in ecstasy and worship the transcendental realm of Vrindavan. Desiring the lotus feet of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, Narottam Das sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Very happy to be with all of you again today. I think after singing this song and understanding the translation, I'm sure you all appreciate the importance of all the personalities mentioned by Srila Narottam Das Thakur here. So this is a very popular and much loved song in the Gaudiya Vaishnava community, because all the personalities that are so important in our life, in our devotional life, have been mentioned here. Right from Krishna all down to the devotees of the Lord. From Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Guru Tattva, everyone is mentioned. And very often we used to sing this even in Kirtan sometimes. But nowadays generally we don't sing this, we only sing the Mahamantra, but sometimes these songs are also very important for us to sing. I want to offer my best wishes and congratulations to all the devotees who have gathered here today, especially those who are observing the first anniversary of their initiations from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. For all of you, it is an important day because you remember an important event, a very, very important event in your life, where you have accepted His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj as your spiritual master, as your Diksha Guru, and you are remembering this day today, and there are others who are assembled who are very sincere followers of Krishna consciousness in Srila Prabhupada's mission, whoever you may have been initiated by, but we work together as a family, serve together as a family in Srila Prabhupada's mission and movement. I was requested to speak on the topic of how we can continue to build on relationships. Last night this topic was given to me to speak on, and indeed it is such an important topic, because what we see here in the song that we just sung today is essentially that. This song indicates the foundational principles on which any community of devotees has to be based. Actually, it is only a devotee community that can live in harmony. The fact that we sometimes do not do that indicates that perhaps to some degree we are reflecting the reality of this material world, and also to some degree that perhaps we are not following what we are supposed to be following. So, in building a community, of course, I can only repeat what His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says most often. If you consider his teachings, which are voluminous, comprehensive, and contain so many jewels and gems, there's one gem that you will find that occurs most frequently in his teachings, and that is to be a servant of the devotees. This is one principle that is all pervasive in his teachings, and you will find that in practically every single class that he makes. Rarely will you find a class where he doesn't mention that. Srila Prabhupada also mentions this time and time again. Our Vaishnava Acharyas, the Purva Acharyas, previous Acharyas, also mention this again and again. And in this song as well, Srila Narottam Das Thakur has emphasized this. So let us pursue this theme for today, because taking initiation is not just a matter of a formality of connecting to the parampara through a ceremony. It is that, yes, but the essence of that is to follow the instructions in the spirit of the teachings of the spiritual master. It is not simply something external. It has to be lived. It has to be followed in spirit, not just in letter. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we see a beautiful verse that is spoken by a dialogue between Krishna when he enters Mathura and a devotee called Sudama, who is a garland maker, a Mālākār. In all likelihood, I have referred to this verse sometime in one of my classes to all of you. I frequently refer to this verse because, in my humble opinion, this encapsulates our entire mission, our entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness. When Krishna enters Mathura, after leaving Vrindavan on the external platform, that is in Prakat Leela, in manifest pastimes, he meets many personalities, and one of them is this garland maker, Sudama. Sudama is a very devoted follower of Lord Krishna, and therefore, with great devotion, he serves Krishna and Balaram. He offers them obeisances and gives them various gifts. And especially because he is a Mālākār, he is a garland maker, he decorates their bodies with beautiful garlands of fresh, fragrant, colorful flowers. Krishna is very pleased with his mood of service and devotion and asks him, and rather instructs him, to ask for some benedictions. And Sudama Mālākār asks for 3 benedictions. And these are the 3 benedictions we should all ask for from Krishna, the spiritual masters, and the Vaishnavas. He says, Sopi vavre Achalam Bhaktim tasmin evakhilatmani tad Bhakteshu Sauhārdam bhuteshu cha dayam param. He says, I have 3 things to ask from you, O soul of everything that exists. Akhila Atmani, Akhila Atma, because he is the soul of everything. He is the soul of our soul. I want Achalam Bhaktim towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Achalam means that which is unshakable. I want unshakable bhakti to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's not just it. You see, bhakti is not just a matter of the relationship between the devotee and Krishna. Now, this may sound like a surprising statement. Of course, when you define Krishna as including his devotees, Tadiya, and everything connected to Krishna, then this statement is correct. But if you consider Krishna as only the one person who you see playing the flute, and you disregard everything else and everyone else who is connected to Krishna, then that understanding is incomplete. So included in the definition of Krishna should also be his devotees, who includes the spiritual master, of course. So therefore, asking for devotion to Krishna without referring in any way to Krishna's devotees is an incomplete understanding. It is not a proper benediction to ask for. So therefore, Sudama Mālākār also asks for Tat Bhakteshu Sauhārdam. he asks for a mood of proper friendship with the devotees, tat bhaktish, of his devotees. And I'll come to this word Sauhārda in a few moments. And finally, it's not just about Krishna and the devotees. What about those who are not devotees? Should I be concerned only with Krishna and the devotees and we are not at all bothered about the rest of the world? No, we are. So we feel very strongly that the rest of the world should also take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna and the devotees. So he asks for Bhuteshu cha dayam param. Bhuteshu refers not to ghosts here, but refers to all living entities. Dayam param. May I develop a sense of compassion. What kind of compassion? Param, spiritual. May I develop a sense of spiritual compassion towards all living entities. A very important point. See, it's not just about a selfish view of me and Krishna and me progressing in my Krishna consciousness. It's also about what am I doing to help others progress in their Krishna consciousness. The path of bhakti is the ultimate selflessness. It is a path where we try to help others in devotional service and at the same time also pay attention to our progress in Krishna consciousness. So all three are together. If you think in terms of only preaching, but then you don't think about your own sadhana, you don't chant your rounds, you don't read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, you don't think about your relationships with the devotees, so then that's incomplete. It's not going to sustain. On the other hand, if somebody says, well, I only want to focus on relationships with devotees and I sit and we chat and we share prasadam together and we gossip together, but we don't think about our sadhana, we don't think about hearing and chanting about Krishna, we don't make plans to spread the message of Krishna consciousness everywhere, even then it's not complete. In other words, to make our life full in Krishna consciousness and complete, all three elements have to be there in a prominent way. It's like a tripod, a table that stands on three legs. If you take away one, the table falls. So similarly, if we want to sustain our Krishna consciousness and keep it vibrant throughout our life, then we have to have all these three elements. Achalam Bhaktim, Tad Bhakteshu cha Sauhārdam, Bhuteshu cha Dayam Param. So our sadhana must be very strong. We must hear and chant nicely about Krishna. We must have a preaching spirit, wanting to go out and share the message of Krishna with others. But we must also equally focus on developing Sauhārda with the devotees. So because I was asked to speak today on relationships amongst the devotees, I'll focus a little more on this point now. Tad Bhakteshu cha Sauhārdam. You all heard the word Sauhārda. The word Sauhārda comes from Suhrid. I'm sure you've heard the word Suhrid. Can anyone indicate where you have heard this word Suhrid in the Bhagavad Gita or the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam without looking at your phones? Suhridam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shantim richati. So the peace formula as given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes? So, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So, one who understands that Krishna is the proprietor of everything. He is also our well-wisher. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Such a person can attain actual peace. Right? So, again, To understand that Krishna is the ever well-wisher of all the living entities is one of the elements of the peace formula. So Suhrid. So Krishna is the ever well-wisher, and Krishna's pure devotee is also our ever well-wisher. The word Suhrid generally is understood to be a friend, but it's not just a friend. A Suhrid is one who has Su and Hrid. Hrid means heart, indicating wishes, and Su means good, sublime. So Suhrid means one who is our true well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada used to sign off his letters as saying, your ever well-wisher. So, truly speaking, unless one is a pure devotee, one cannot be a well-wisher of others. We may have some sentiment of wishing well for others, but true well-wishes come only on the platform of pure devotion. To the degree we become pure devotees of Krishna, to that degree we can actually become true well-wishers of others. So Suhrid, it doesn't mean that because I am not situated on the platform of the topmost devotional to Krishna, therefore I am no longer a Suhrid, or I shouldn't attempt to be a Suhrid of others. No, we have to. Therefore he says, Tad Bhakteshu Sauhārdam. Sauhārda means friendship. Suhrida means friend, a well-wisher, and Sauhārda means friendship. So me wanting that the quality of being a friend to somebody, the phenomenon of friendship that exists between the devotees of the Lord. So this spirit of Sauhārda is extremely important. Our relationships have to be based in the devotee community on this principle of Sauhārda, being always wishing well for other devotees. Yes, in real life situations, even in the devotee community, you will find that differences of opinion happen. Sometimes relationships get a little frayed. Sometimes there is some kind of resentment that builds up amongst devotees. Sounds familiar? No, I'm sure it's familiar, but that is the reality of this material world. It does happen. So, regardless, one has to try to always wish well for others. Even if you have a difference of opinion with somebody, even if you've had some argument with somebody, or there has been cause for you to feel ill about somebody, let us try to make sure that we don't hold that ill will for more than a few moments. I remember one devotee used to say, when people used to ask him, how does one control anger? So he would answer and say that, well, it's natural to get angry sometimes, but don't stay angry. Let it be momentary, even if it has to come. So similarly, it may happen that we develop a sense of ill will towards somebody else. Okay, it just comes into the heart. So fair enough, now it's there, but don't let that feeling of ill will persist in the heart. Don't let it stay there. Just drive it out of your heart. Don't dwell on it. You let that feeling of ill will persist in the heart by keeping on dwelling on it, by keeping on thinking about it. The more you start thinking about it, the more you let your mind continuously dwell on it, you let that feeling of ill will persist on and on. And then it feeds on itself and becomes stronger, and eventually it becomes very vicious to the point that it stifles and cuts our devotional creeper. And then we find that we cannot chant peacefully, because these negative thoughts come into our minds. So therefore, we should try to cultivate this. We cannot use the excuse that I'm not yet a pure devotee and therefore I can't be a real suhrid for others. Yes, from a philosophical point of view, from the strict understanding of the highest understanding of the term suhrid, perhaps that is so. But that doesn't mean that we should not cultivate the mood of being a suhrid for others. You see, bhakti is all about cultivation. That is why the word anushilana is used. And in which verse is this used? Which is that famous verse? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. So anushilanam, Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada explained, refers to cultivation. When you cultivate a crop or you tend to a garden, it requires a lot of effort over a period of time. It's not that you just plant it and forget about it. You have to work on it. You have to keep watering it. You have to protect the plants from grazing animals. You have to protect the plant from weeds. So there are many things to be done. Those amongst you who have some understanding of gardening, I'm sure you're able to relate to this. So therefore, cultivation is a process that is continuous and that requires effort and intelligence. So similarly, developing the spirit of Sauhārda towards other devotees, so that our relationships in the devotee community can be smooth and built on trust and love. So I was saying that bhakti is a process of cultivation, and cultivation requires consistent effort, steady effort. It requires painstaking efforts. It's not something that is very easily and casually obtainable. So similarly, if we want to, and we must want to, have a community of devotees where the relationships are wholesome and not toxic or bitter, even partially, then we must ensure that we give the time and energy that it requires, that we are willing to take pains to ensure that this happens. So developing a devotee community where there is Sauhārda, mutual friendship, a spirit of friendship amongst the devotees, requires painstaking effort from every single devotee. It's not only that a few devotees should do that. Every single devotee has to contribute to this process of developing the spirit of Sauhārda amongst the devotees in the community. So, therefore, this Sauhārda is so important that Krishna is pleased by this extremely. There's a very famous verse in the 4th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It is a statement of the Supreme Lord to the Prachetas, who were the sons of King Prachina Barhishat. And this is a very famous and popular verse in the devotee community. And whenever there are discussions on relationships and so on, you'll often find this verse being discussed. And Krishna, he appears before the Prachetas, the 10 brothers, and he says, Varam Vrinidvam Bhadram Vo Yuyam Me Nripanandanaha Sauhārdena Prathak Dharmaha Tushtoham Suhrdena Vaha. So he says, my dear Nripanandanaha, Nandana refers to the son, one who gives pleasure to. Nandanaha, the plural, so because there are many sons, there are 10 sons of King Prachina Parhi. Nripa means the king. So, O sons of the king, Varam vrinidvam. So please ask for some vara. Vara means a boon or a benediction. Bhadram vo. May everything be auspicious with you, all good fortune unto you. And he says, Sauhārdena apratak prithak dharmaha. So because of your sauhārda, your mutual brotherly spirit or your spirit of friendship amongst each other, and apratak dharmaha, because you are all pursuing one-pointedly the ultimate dharma of devotion to me. Tushtoham. Tushtaha means I am satisfied, I am very pleased. Aham means I. So I am extremely satisfied. So with these two things, which are the two things? Sauhārdena, by your spirit of mutual friendship, and two, apratak dharmaha, that you are one-pointedly performing Krishna consciousness. So he says tushtoham, and then he repeats another point that he has previously stated. Tushtoham sahurdena vaha. He repeats the point of sauhārdena, sahurdena, friendship. I am very pleased by the spirit of friendship between you, amongst yourselves. So, whilst Krishna is certainly pleased when we perform our sādhanā nicely, you chant your 16 rounds nicely, 32 rounds, 64 rounds, you study Bhāgavatam, you study Bhagavad Gita, and do all these other aspects of our sadhana very nicely, which is wonderful, which is wanted, and which certainly pleases Krishna. But if you want to please Krishna truly, in addition to doing all of this, one must also develop the spirit of sauhārda with the devotees. Tushtoham sahurdena vaha. Then it is then and only then that Krishna is truly pleased. So the spirit of friendship, that sauhārda amongst the devotees in Krishna consciousness, not without Krishna consciousness, is what pleases Krishna the most. So let's reflect on this and be with it for a few moments. How important is it in our spiritual life to develop this friendly spirit amongst all the devotees? It can extend from just basic courtesies to each other to something that goes much deeper also. It can't be just superficial, although external courtesies are also important. But that spirit of friendship and being a well-wisher of everyone must run deep as well. So it's very interesting. I wonder if it's possible to have a purport or this verse put up on the screen, because that purport is extremely illuminating. It is 438, 30th chapter, 8th verse of the 4th canto, and Srila Prabhupada's purport is really very instructive and very practical in this regard. So all of you can maybe refer your verses in your phones. 4.30.8. And I wish to read Srila Prabhupada's purport. And since because we are talking about the first initiation, the first anniversary of initiation, and I was speaking about how His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj emphasizes so much on being the servant of the devotees, it's important to know also that what he really values, one of his biggest contributions to the devotee society is the development of a community of devotees that tries to live by the principles that we have just spoken about, that Krishna has said here, the Sauhārdam. So, on this anniversary day, we should try to follow and try to live up to this standard. Okay, we pulled up the purport on the screen, but we cannot share the screen with you. Okay, so all of you are seeing it? Okay, but I don't have it with me. Can you give me the fourth canto, Kishore? Since the sons of King Prachina Barhishat were all united in Krishna consciousness, the Lord was very pleased with them. Each and every one of the sons of King Prachina Barhishat was an individual soul, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is real unity. In the material world, such unity is not possible. Even though people may officially unite, they all have different interests. In the United Nations, for instance, all the nations have their particular national ambitions, and consequently they cannot be united. Disunity between individual souls is so strong within this material world that even in a society of Krishna consciousness, members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions and leaning toward material things. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. There is only one goal: to serve Krishna to one's best ability. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. Those who are actually engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be disunited in any circumstance. This makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy and willing to award all kinds of benedictions to his devotees, as indicated in this verse. We can see that the Lord is immediately prepared to award all benedictions to the sons of King Prachina Barhishat, unquote. So there are many, each sentence here is power packed. Yes? Can I see that one sentence? 1 second, please hold it there. Where Prabhupada says that disunity between individual souls is so strong within this material world that even in a society of Krishna consciousness, members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions and leaning toward material things. So having different opinions is not the problem. The problem is leaning towards material things. That is what causes the problem. Differences of opinion can happen even in Goloka Vrindavan between Lalita Sakhi, Vishaka Sakhi. But they're united in their service of Radharani and Krishna. The problem is really the leaning toward material things. That actually is the issue. Yes? So, yeah, we don't need that on the screen anymore. Can we come back to the normal screen? So thank you for putting it all up. Yes. So, yes. So the reason we are not able to be true well-wishers of each other, and the reasons there are issues that we may face, whether it is in the devotee community or whether it is in the home, is because of this one thing, leaning toward material things, which means the material contamination in the heart affects our propensities. Remember that we are devotees and we should deal with each other as devotees first. And even at home, yes, this principle has to be applied. because mostly at home you have devotees, or at least those who are favorable to devotional service. So it is this one thing, leaning toward material things, that causes friction and unpleasantness in the devotee community. So ultimately, to the degree that we all become Krishna conscious, to that degree it will be possible for us to live together in harmony and be genuine suhrida of each other. This Sauhārdam is possible by developing this positive Krishna conscious spirit. So what is the meaning of leaning toward material things? It means, for example, that we let our individual ego, the false ego, come in between. Or perhaps it may be that we have some self-interest. It may be that we have some desire for some position, some prestige, worship, some praise. So these are qualities or states of mind that interfere with our living in harmony with each other. It is not enough to chant our rounds. It is necessary but not sufficient. Anushilanam indicates that we have to make effort in every aspect of Krishna consciousness, including the very important aspect of living together harmoniously in a wholesome manner with devotees, to develop this principle of Sauhārdam. No envy of devotees, no self-interest, no ego. Interestingly, in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in the 3rd canto, Kapila teaches his mother Devahuti about many things, including devotional service. And he speaks about devotional service in the 3 modes of nature. So now this itself is what we may call an oxymoron. You know what an oxymoron is? A contradiction in terms, just like to say there is an honest thief. Right? How can he be honest if he's a thief? Right? So it's an oxymoron. Similarly, the phrase devotional service in the 3 modes of nature may seem to be an oxymoron, because the 3 modes of nature are connected with material nature, and devotional service is connected with spiritual nature. Devotional service is transcendental. So how can you have devotional service in the 3 modes of nature? So the answer is that it is not devotional service that is in the 3 modes of material nature. Rather, it is the devotee who performs the devotional service who is in the 3 modes of material nature, who has not yet been fully purified. So when Kapila Dev speaks about devotional service in the mode of ignorance, for example, he is speaking about devotional service performed by the devotee who is in the mode of ignorance. It is not that devotional service is in the mode of ignorance, rather it is the devotee who is not pure enough, who is still afflicted by the pangs of material consciousness. So therefore, what is devotional service in the mode of ignorance? It is devotional service that is tainted with anger, violence, envy. So when the devotee is not fully purified and these qualities exist in that person, then the devotional service rendered by that person also gets tainted by those qualities. So this kind of violence or speaking harshly to others, even to your to fellow devotees, or to anyone, not just devotees, unnecessary harsh speech must be avoided by devotees. So one shouldn't speak harshly, unnecessarily, to even non-devotees, to devotees in the community, or to your family members at home. because if you do so, it will affect your Krishna consciousness. Don't be harsh. Be gentle with everyone. You may be firm, but you don't have to be harsh. And so yes, there is anger, there is dishonesty, there is gossip and rumor mongering and all of that. So these are qualities of, that pertain to the tamoguna. So when we perform devotional service and we are afflicted with these frailties, with these weaknesses, then we are said to be performing devotional service in the mode of ignorance. Similarly, what is devotional service in the mode of passion? When a devotee performs devotional service with the hope of acquiring some name, fame, reputation, prestige, when a devotee wants to be praised, worshipped, or wants to be known as some great devotee, as a very learned devotee, and so on and so forth, then that is devotional service in the mode of passion. This is called Prithak Bhavam in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, a separatist. What is a separatist? We generally hear of the word separatist in the field of politics. So for example, some people want to separate from a country, so they are called separatists. Yes? So separatist means when you have a mentality that is different, that is separate from the mainstream. So here the mainstream refers to Krishna. So when we have a desire separate from Krishna's desire, that is called Prithak Bhavam. Prithak means separate, Bhava means the state of mind. So therefore, the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion are definitely Prithak Bhavam or Bhinna Drik. A drishti, drik is to see, a vision that is different from the vision of Krishna or the pure devotees. Now interestingly, not just the mode of passion and ignorance, but also the devotional service in the mode of goodness is considered Prithak Bhavam. Why is that? Because in the mode of goodness also, one has a spirit of dharma, one wants to do devotional service, but then one wants to be relieved from the results of one's previously performed sinful activities. One wants to be free from pain and misery. So one performs devotional service with this objective. So here also there is a self-interest that I want to be free from misery. It's not about wanting to make Krishna happy, wanting to make the devotees happy, wanting to make the spiritual master happy. It's about me. I want to be free. So because of that egoistic conception, there is also the Prithak Bhavam. On the other hand, as opposed to all these three varieties of contaminated devotional service, there is what Kapila Dev says, Nirguna Bhakti. Mad Guna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogati Ravichinna Yatha Gangamba Sombudhau. So he says that when there is spontaneous attraction to hearing the pastimes on the messages of Krishna, and when the mind flows spontaneously, when there is discussion of such topics, or when there is the chanting of Krishna's names, Mano Gatir Avichinna, when the mind flows spontaneously regardless of obstacles that may come in the path, simply upon hearing Mad Guna Shruti Matrena, simply hearing the qualities of Krishna or his names, his fame, form, pastimes, when the mind rushes towards Krishna, just as Yatha Ganga Ambaso Ambudhau, when the waters of the Ganga rush towards the ocean, regardless of the obstacles that come in between, that is called Nirguna Bhakti. Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya hi Udaharitah. So that is called Nirguna Bhakti, bhakti that is beyond the three modes of material nature. ahaituki avyavahita. So that should be selfless, unmotivated and uninterrupted. Ya bhakti purushottame. So therefore this kind of devotional service is actually something that is to be aspired for. Not the devotional service in the three modes of material nature. So if we identify the qualities that pertain to the mode of ignorance, passion and goodness, and we examine how these qualities interfere in the quality of our relationships with those around us, then we will find the permanent and proper and wholesome solution to the problems of our relationships in this world, especially amongst the devotees. So all the negative qualities that afflict our consciousness interfere with the development of warm, loving relationships with others. So let us try to work on these things. By chanting Hare Krishna and doing other forms of devotional service, yes, automatically there is a cleansing of the heart and we become relieved of the burden of these negative qualities. But simultaneously, one of the limbs of devotional service is also to practically attempt to get rid of these bad qualities. So when we do that, then automatically we will find that the quality of our relationships improves. That we will actually start feeling good about others. We will start wishing well for others. So this is very important, Sauhārda. If we actually, in all circumstances, wish well for the person. Let's say that somebody has spoken harshly to us and we feel very bad about it. That's human. It's natural. And we think ill about that person. This person spoke to me in this way and that way, and it happens to people, yes? So, how should one respond in one's consciousness? Yes, we will feel bad. So, we shouldn't pray for anything bad to happen to that person or that devotee. Rather, in the spirit of being the well-wisher of that person, despite the feeling of hurt that we experience, we should try to pray to Krishna that Krishna, please cleanse this person of this negative quality by which he or she acts in such a way to cause hurt to others. So I have been caused hurt because of this person's quality of anger or envy or ego or whatever it is. Please help this devotee overcome this affliction. So we can pray like that. There's no harm in doing so. And incidentally, this acts as a beautiful medicine for our own feeling of hurt as well. Please try it. You will experience it. When you actually start praying for the well-being of that person, you will find you don't feel that bad about this person anymore. Although that person may have given you adequate grounds for feeling hurt. But still, if you actually think like that, then not only will your sense of hurt subside, but you will find that your prayers work, and the other person who has behaved in an unbecoming way will also not continue to behave this way too much. And that person will also start thinking a little positively about you. You know, this ye yatha mam prapadyante formula works even at the very subtle level. If you think good about others, others will think good about you. In some mysterious or mystical way it happens, because Krishna is in the heart of everyone. So when you actually start feeling well wishes, wishing well for others, in course of time, inevitably, that person will also start wishing well for you. So, you know, a person is known by the aspirations he or she keeps. Undoubtedly, what I am saying is difficult. But if we aspire to do this, we attempt to do this sincerely, definitely Krishna will be pleased with our effort. And then we will be able to build a devotee community, we will be able to build a family where we can all live according to the principles on which the prachetas were living. And Krishna will be really pleased with us. So I'm sure that those of you who are here in this first anniversary of the initiation, you will rest assured that His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj will also be very pleased when he sees that those he has initiated are living together in this manner. And it's not just about those who are initiated by him, it's about everybody, all devotees. And indeed, it is about everyone, all living entities. Further, one last point that I want to make. It's not only about attitude and qualities. These are indeed very important, as Prabhupada says in the preface to Nectar of Instruction, and I repeat this endlessly, that advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So attitude indicates all of the things that I've spoken about now. But also there's another thing that interferes in the development of good relationships amongst devotees, and that is the lack of skills. Lack of human relations skills, lack of organizational skills, lack of leadership skills, lack of maybe other social skills. And because these skills sometimes are not present adequately in devotees, so they also cause a disruption in the mood and the relationships between devotees. So inasmuch as we should try to cultivate the internal consciousness, the qualities, the attitudes that I have referred to, it is also very helpful to cultivate certain skills that are essential in developing a harmonious community that lives together in Sauhārda. I have mentioned some of these skills, but it needs effort. It needs deliberate, conscious effort in developing these skills, learning these skills. And therefore, I think all these things together will help us in developing and continuing our relationships in a very wholesome manner. And then individually and collectively, we will move ahead in our Krishna consciousness. So once again, best wishes to all of you who are observing your first anniversary of initiation, and also to all the other assembled devotees today here. My best wishes also to all of you in every respect. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.